Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stay on Your Bike podcast. Sorry about the little break there. I was away for a couple of weeks, so yeah, didn't miss doing one last week. But this week I'm really excited about this one because the guest today is a phenomenal bike rider, somebody I spent quite a lot of time with when I first started racing downhill. And yeah, was good mate back in the day, and yeah, really excited to welcome Steve Geall to the podcast. Steve Geall, welcome to the podcast. Obviously we spent a fair bit of time together back in the late 90s, and caught up with you last weekend, and yeah, thanks for coming on.
That's all right, no worries. Good fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're still going and kind of riding our bikes, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure. Like age is only a number, and it? You just, I don't know, you do get a little bit slower, I guess, but I'm still having fun though.
Yeah, that's the main thing, I think, mate. Um, well, let's first of all let's go right back to being a kid, and I'm interested to know, hear a bit more about your background and how you got into bike riding, where you grew up, and all that kind of stuff. First off,
Yeah. Just down on the south coast. Place I suppose Hordle was like sort of where I was living first with my parents and stuff, and then my dad was always into motorbikes. He used to work for Rickman's,
oh yeah,
do a bit of welding and stuff, and yeah, so he sort of was. I was always around motorbikes, and sort of he was fanning around with cars and stuff like that. So yeah, just cars and motorbikes, and then obviously because he made the Rickman frames and stuff, he made me my first sort of BMX, as it were, like 16-inch sort of like bike with like triple clamps and everything that looked like a motorbike. It's pretty sick.
what year
Um,
was that then?
uh, I don't know, it would have been like 5 or 6 maybe when I
Right.
had that. So I used to rip around and cause loads of havoc on the around Hordle. So yeah, that's pretty sick.
And where sorry, I'm not that clued up on the south coast, but whereabouts is that? Where's that nearest to, like, big town?
um, Probably it's sort of in between Bournemouth and Southampton, I suppose, really.
Okay.
So right near, sort of like directly just up from the Isle of Wight, as it were.
Okay.
Bit of water in between, but yeah,
Yeah.
just up from there. So
Okay, cool. And and then was at that time, I guess, was just before kind of BMX hit the UK, I imagine.
um yeah, I mean, yeah, it was it there was like grifters and sort of the boxers and sort of stuff like that. I think a striker I had was probably the first rally sort of thing I had.
Yeah.
But that bottom bracket fell out of that when I jumped off curbs and stuff, as you did. And yeah, just upgrading from that. And that's how why my dad made me another bike, because something is a bit more indestructible. So
Brilliant.
yeah, it's a good little bike.
And did he make any for your mates and stuff that wanted them after seeing yours, or?
Um, I don't think he did, if I remember rightly. It was just for me, but obviously he did do some stuff with Brian Curtis and stuff in the early days as well, welding some of the Curtises and the Rickmans up.
Yeah.
Um, in the early days, I sort of rode BMX um, for Rickman. I suppose that was a bit later. Yeah, he sort of helped them out, but yeah, no, I don't think he made any for friends and stuff. It was just for me, really.
Okay.
Uh,
And then did you, like a lot of people, did you start out with BMX racing, or did you go straight into freestyle stuff?
no, just racing, like probably from I don't know, like 10 or 11 maybe. Just racing because we're close to Bournemouth BMX track and Southampton track.
Yeah.
We used to race at that quite a lot. Um, just in the local sort of regionals and sort of like races they had on in general. I got all right at it. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, got a few trophies and stuff on the podium, and sort of got a bit more into it because I was doing quite well at it.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole sort of Curtis thing come in, because we knew Brian. He used to ride for Curtis and stuff in the early days.
Yeah.
Did all the nationals like the MBMXA nationals and stuff. So yeah, we did. Yeah, did all right. I think I was Southwest number 4 or something.
Nice.
Uh, so yeah,
Uh,
rode all right. Yeah.
And what so was your age group like Wayne Llewellyn sort of or was that your age group?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like well, I basically didn't really race them that much. Maybe at a couple of nationals I might have done, but they were in a different sort of sector of the country, if you know what I mean. Like the nationals sort of thing didn't. They were. It was a different group, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was UK
Um,
BMX and NBMXA, wasn't there?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I did do a couple of bits of both, but mainly just the sort of southern sort of side of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I think we did do the Brits and stuff. We went up to like Derby and walked around that track and was like 3 foot tall, like all the dog crap all around the track. But
But
yeah, other than that,
I think Derby was about as pedally as the Nampmar weekend track, wasn't it?
I think it was. It's not great, was it? I think it was soft as well. They'd redone a few bits and like it was literally like pedaling through a bog. I think the first couple of straights, but
Yeah, I know.
horrible.
But it was just too pedally for me.
Yeah, not good. I'm not a super peddler, much like yourself. But yeah.
And then, so what kind of, how did you transition into, doing more freestyle stuff on the BMX, or did you just always do that, um, on the
Uh,
side while you were racing?
Basically, I think it was, I don't know if it was Hounslow. I went to a national at Hounslow with a couple of mates. I think it was Andy Pope and Bernard Shell and that lot.
Yeah.
And there was, I'm sure it was Hounslow. Someone probably shout if not, but like they used to have a quarter pipe there. I'm pretty sure it was there. And yeah, I was racing there, and like all the motos sort of come and gone, and I'd missed them because I was riding this quarter pipe all the time. So it sort of changed me really. Like that was when I was more into the freestyle side of things. Um, so yeah, it was. Yeah, I just liked it more. I just enjoyed it more. It's just like, yeah, just loved hitting a ramp. Like I was a bit over the racing thing, I suppose.
Uh,
Like it did all right. It got a few good trophies and stuff like that. But yeah, I just enjoyed the whole freestyle thing a bit more, really.
cool. And like, what sort of age was that when you kind of transitioned over?
Um, Probably I'd say sort of 15, 16 maybe.
Okay.
I just started riding a bit more. I had a couple of friends in Southsea. Mark Likely, I used to go and stay with him, like in the school sort of 6 week school holiday. Basically, used to just basically live at his house for sort of 5 weeks. And we
Yeah.
used to go to Southsea like every day and just ride Southsea like constantly. Ride that the key old bowl stuff, like 15, 16 foot deep bowl thing. We used to ride that like literally all day, and
Brilliant.
then just go to us and have some hideous microwave pizzas or whatever they were. But yeah, it's yeah, it was just I just like that side of things, like finding bits of the concrete with different transitions and the better transitions. I
Yeah.
just just thought that was cool. I just really like it.
And did you like, to influencers at that time? Did you like go to any contests, or were you just looking in the mags like I used to do for the racing and stuff out? Who was you kind of people that influenced you at that time?
Back in the day, so it's the early stuff. It's more the Americans, sort of really, I suppose. I suppose the early ones you got like R.L. Osborne. Who else? Probably like Todd Anderson. Sort of like the early sort of early guys like Dina Duca, Dominguez,
Yeah.
bit Bob Harrow, obviously, who who didn't he sort of influence, but there was so many, and you could see it through like the freestyling mags and that lot. And I mean, there was some good English riders at the time. Obviously, Jamie Bestwick, David Frame, Scott McCarroll, sort of all Peppy Winder, but all the guys and stuff. It was a good scene, like both sides of the pond, really. But yeah, like obviously got into the freestyle thing. Then I rode a few nationals, and like I won quite a few of the nationals one year. And then Peter Hawkins, who used to run the Harrow Skyway team,
Mhm.
he got on to me and said, "Oh, look, do you want to ride for Harrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, too bloody right." So that was late 87.
Okay.
And yeah, we traveled around doing stuff. It was like me, Jace Davis. He was a bit of a cohort. He used to hang about with quite a lot, to be fair. RIPJ, fucking top bloke. But yeah, like we used to ride all the time. He used to go and stay at his. But yeah, I used to just rode all did demos and stuff with Harrow, rode all the nationals. I think in '88 I won all the British freestyle nationals ramps, and then obviously won the Ties of Worlds in Manchester.
Brilliant.
It was cool. It was that was almost like, I wouldn't say it was a means to an end, but because I won the worlds, I was always trying to find other stuff to sort of try and do.
Yeah.
And my first was definitely motocross, because that was one sort of thing. My sort of dad said to me, he said, if you want to ride BMX or moto, and I'm like, oh, BMX, dad. It's like, I should have gone the other way. I've always got that motocross thing in the back of my head, like from day dot, really. But yeah, the whole freestyle thing was cool, and then obviously won the worlds. 88, 89, I think I was second in Limoges in France.
That's amazing.
So that
What to win the worlds at that time. So that is that on the vert ramp. What was it called? Like that.
the British stuff was on the ramp, so you basically had a ramp at the end of a sports hall, and you used to pedal the knackers off towards it, and it goes hard as you can, do all your tricks or whatever.
Yeah.
The Limoges was the same. That was just ramps. It was almost before the half pipe thing really became a thing. Like the half pipe thing started coming in. I think it was more in America. Probably that would have been sort of 90s, early or late 80s, early 90s. Started like the Two Hip series and stuff, which they sort of started over there. But then there was the British one over here, and I rode a couple of those. But I wouldn't say I didn't like it, because I still loved it. But
Yeah.
I had, from about 90 onwards, for a couple of years, I had problems with my back.
Right.
And pumping the stuff of vert around, as you can imagine, is not good for your back.
Can't imagine. There's no way I'd do it.
No. But so yeah, I sort of reined it in a bit, and then I got a mountain bike, basically. I think that was probably like early. It was a Diamondback, like the smoke color sort of thing, Ascent or something. Ascent,
Okay.
was it a Diamondback Ascent or something? That
I
was
had
when I sort of like
Apex.
left school. So yeah, that would have been sort of when I was 18, 19. So it would have been, at the end of the time I won the worlds and stuff. So, and I've sort of got into it a bit through that, and then obviously met a few of the guys around that road, like Andy Pope had sort of gone to mountain bikes, I think, a bit then, and he was riding BMX still, but had a mountain bike, and Bernie as well. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, you just sort of almost trying to push yourself into other stuff.
Yeah.
And that was just for me like a natural progression getting onto it.
So
That's sort of where the mountain bike started, really.
cool, and like, at that time winning the worlds in BMX, was there any like money in sponsorship then, or not really?
No, I wouldn't say there was. Like, it was more like product, expenses. You get taken everywhere, so you wouldn't have to sort of pay anything or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was a cool time, like
Yeah.
just riding your bike and sort of having fun and not having to pay any money, which was cool. You're getting your expenses and stuff paid for, so it was cool. It was a
Yeah.
good time.
At that age, and then becoming world champion at anything is an amazing achievement. Like,
Yeah. Oh, definitely, for sure. Like, I'm pretty proud of that, really, to be honest. Like, I do. It's not. It's. I don't know. Sometimes I do get a bit disheartened about it, because there was a couple. Oh, hang on.
laptop's gone.
Malfunction there. Yeah, like there was a guy, Chris Potts, who should have been in my group, American guy, and he was pretty good at the time. I caught a lot of like variations and tricks and stuff he was doing, and he was in a different class. For some reason he should have been in my group, but then they put him in pro, I think, or something.
Right.
I was a bit disappointed that he wasn't in my group, but it's still, you got to be in it to win it, haven't you? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was all good. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Brilliant, mate. And so then did you go straight onto the mountain bikes from there basically, or did you have a break at all from riding and stuff, or did you always just keep riding your bike?
Yeah, just always riding. I was riding BMX. I've still got BMX. I haven't stopped riding BMX. I mean, to be honest, it's probably the longest period that I've not ridden it for a while this year, probably a few months,
Wow.
um, just because of back again.
Yeah.
It's for every scene I seem to ride my BMX, I have to book the um, osteopath the week after, which is not great. But I I I can ride it at trails fine
Yeah.
because you're not pumping almost like you're almost just using the jumps to get over the other jump. So you pump some stuff, but it's not the same as from an half pipe or a mini ramp or something like that. So I can get away with it on that.
Yeah.
But because I've been riding the mountain bike, it just feels a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
So because they're quite small, but I mean, I've got a new one actually, probably end of last year, a Black Magic Credence
Okay. Yeah.
S&M,
Yeah.
and that's like 22 inch top tube, so it's pretty big,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's got the wheel pulled right back, so it's as long as and stable as it can be,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would know. I don't think I'd ever sell it. I can't. Like, I know a few people obviously that have had them and sold them lately, and then they're just getting more. Like my mate James Nash, he's a ripper. Like he was really good on BMX, but got into mountain biking a bit. And because obviously the same with me, once you got on a mountain bike, you get back on your BMX. It's pretty hard to ride. It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
So he just sold his BMX and just solely started mountain biking. And even Matt Rowe,
Yeah.
he uh he sold his BMX and he's always on about getting another one. I think Gaz at Mutiny's making him another one or something I've seen. So that'd be cool to see him shred a BMX again. To be fair.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And so how did you start out with the mountain biking after that? Did you get to any races straight away, or were you just kind of riding for fun and stuff?
I just riding for fun with a couple of mates and just sitting bits of wood up against bits of against oil cans and jumping off it and always trying to. Obviously, the Diamondback didn't last too long. Like I, I got upgraded the forks and I got some RC34s, I think, and bent them and sent them back to Pace. And then Adrian Carter was like, "Oh, you can have these at trade," because obviously they weren't meant to be doing that on it and all this lot. And then I got the replacement forks. I think I bent them. It's like bloody nightmare. But I
So,
was forever going,
yeah.
yeah, oh, nightmare. Like forever going to like a couple of places and just buying parts to replace.
Yeah.
Um, but and then obviously like the whole animal thing sort of started. The group that we sort of used to ride with and stuff, like Robin and Steve and a few guys like Guz and that lot. So yeah, it sort of came about at the right time.
So
Obviously the whole
was that
oh,
before the team kind of came about? Did you guys all just ride together?
hello, sorry, was that guy? Sorry, you broke up a bit there.
I said so with the Animal Orange team. Did you just ride with them guys before Steve put the team together?
Yeah, we sort of knew him anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think we started on Jamis bikes initially, and did a couple of races on them. We had a couple of like hardtails and like full suspension stuff.
So what year?
Um,
What year would that have been, Steve? Would that be like 96 or something?
uh, yeah, it must have been even earlier, maybe 95.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty early. Like the bikes were good little bikes; they worked pretty well. But yeah, did we did break a few on the
Yeah.
James, but like they were cool bikes and they're a lot different to what I was used to riding.
Yeah.
But and then it was that animal. We did Animal Giant after that, which was like it was way bigger team, and it was just obviously Giant funding the bikes and stuff, which was cool.
Yeah.
And that was when I was doing more of my BMX stuff on the mountain bike, and like the whole mountain bike people just went mental because they're like, "Wow, what's this guy doing on a mountain bike?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm
Yeah.
just doing my normal stuff on a
Yeah.
mountain bike," and they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
couldn't get their heads around it. They were freaking out. And I'm like, "This is just bizarre, like a bit
Yeah.
odd."
Yeah.
But it's just doing my normal thing, and it's just mental. And then obviously, I think we went to Bike 97, Bike 96 or 97, I can't remember. And they had the bunny up thing there, and Steve was like, "Oh, do you want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, go on then." And I think like it's the first time I've even done it, like even hopped on this bike and done it. And like I think Dave Henn was there and Jez Avery at the
Yeah.
time, and like they were all like doing their hop highs and all that. And I just got the European record or something first time.
Yeah.
Like,
How high was that? I remember seeing it in a magazine or something. It was a little just before I kind of started, racing and stuff like that. But I remember seeing
yeah,
UK or whatever.
I think it was about 42, I think, at the time, like 40 or 42. But
Up
it's still,
there.
yeah, it's pretty high. It was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
so like,
I remember seeing a picture and you had some like crazy, like lightweight built up bike. Was that then or was that a time after that?
that was a bit later. That was like I think the year after the Malverns and stuff.
Right.
When yeah, I did 46, I think, at the Malverns,
No way.
which was apparently a new world record.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, that was pretty cool. Like but it's just one of those things I was quite good at from BMX and stuff on the street. You had to hop onto stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was just one of those things I was sort of all right at, you know.
Well, but
So yeah, that.
right.
So, well, I suppose you could say that, yeah. But no, it was just something to do. Like, I don't know, I just find it quite weird, like because I suppose I find it quite natural,
Yeah.
but again, everyone's freaking out, and it's like it's coming from like BMX. I didn't really do that,
Yeah. Hmm.
and it was just like a bit weird. I just find it a bit strange.
Yeah, I think that era of mountain biking, especially in the UK, you know, um, you I kind of had a break from biking, um, even though I kind of read the magazines now and again and stuff. But
Mm.
from like the late 80s to the mid 90s, I kind of didn't really ride bikes. But I can understand what you're saying. Like it was all kind of MBUK based, wasn't it? And
Mm.
I guess from a BMX, coming from a BMX background, a lot of the mountain biking stuff looked a bit cheesy in that. Not to
Yeah,
disrespect any of the mountain bike riders who were super fast and skillful in their own areas, but some of the
yeah,
funny
yeah.
stuff that they did in MBUK or whatever wasn't, it was a bit weird for a BMXer, I guess.
Yeah, no, exactly, so exactly that. Like, it just, I don't know, because obviously the BMX, the freestyle side, everyone's going nuts. You know, they're getting like 10 foot out of a quarter pipe. You know, and like hanging out like no foot cans and stuff like that. Carlo Griggs, 14 foot out of a 7 foot quarter. I mean, you know, that compared to the stuff they were doing on the mountain bike back then was pretty
Yeah,
gnarly. You know,
yeah,
and the mountain bike stuff seemed pretty lame. So when I was doing all my tricks on the mountain bike, the jumps and stuff, they were like freaking out because they'd never seen anything like it on a mountain bike before.
of course.
And I was like, well, it's just what I do day in, day out on the BMX, but I'm on a mountain bike.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's weird because some stuff on the mountain bike was easier because it was bigger, stable,
yeah,
and you could do stuff a lot easier. Like 360s and stuff like that were a bit harder
yeah.
because it's a bigger bike and it takes longer to go around, and you just fold your wheels up every flipping time you do one because they weren't made to do it. But yeah, other than that, it's just doing my day in, day out BMX stuff on a mountain bike.
Yeah, definitely. And so what how did the animal team come about then? Like how did it get from where you started out with those guys to I started racing in 97 and you were on that team then and me coming into racing the national series, that team was I mean it was a big team, wasn't it really? It was a really professional looking team for back then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was real big. Yeah, like I mean, obviously Steve had quite a lot to do with that and getting in touch with people and sorting all stuff like that out. But yeah, I mean, it's good. Like I mean, I think the year you're on about was when we had PlayStation and Boost and that,
Oh, yeah.
and it was good. Like we turned up at races and we had the van and the awning and it looked pretty good. But then obviously there was a few other teams like MBK had a big sort of van and or whatever it was, Winnebago and stuff. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it was sort of a good era. It was like, I don't know, there must have been some money to throw around or something, I don't know, but like that everyone had sort of big rigs and stuff, and the races look good, you know.
Yeah.
They're quite, I don't know, I'd even say it's different than today. Like you turn up at a British National, it's nowhere near as like packed with big rigs and stuff like that that you used to see back in the day. You know, it's just people in their vans.
Yeah.
It's pretty mad, really, how it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, as I say, I was kind of coming back into biking, so I was like, had a break, and I was really into it. And
Mm,
I think the magazines I think the UK probably had some of the best magazines, didn't it? So that was selling it to us, to people to want to come and do it. And then, obviously we didn't have phones and social media and stuff, so you looked in all the magazines, and you guys were in there all the time. So when
mm,
you got to a national and you saw those setups, that was really exciting, I guess. And then, you know, um, the second year I raced 98, which I would have then started racing against you in the elite
mm,
car or whatever it was called. It was
mm.
televised by Channel 4, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. The Rav 4 stuff was on telly. Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's insane for what it is now, isn't it? Really?
yeah. I mean, I to be fair, like the nationals and stuff would just seem way bigger than they do now. Like it
Yeah.
almost the nationals. I don't know. I wouldn't say a bit of a joke, but they're almost getting sort of like that. You know, I know one of them recently was cancelled because of the weather and all this lot, and it's just mad how you know how all this sort of happens. You know, I don't know why. Like, why can't someone put on a good? Maybe it's just all the money thing. Like, what you know, the money, the spare money's not there to do stuff like that. Back then, it just seemed that it was a good time. Like, I mean, we were on the right wages riding. Not bad. You get good expenses, and like obviously, you know, we did World Cups and stuff together, and was driving around all around Europe and America and stuff, like riding the bikes and getting paid to do it. It's very hard to do that now. I think the level of riding, I think, is probably higher. There's more people at a higher level,
Yeah.
so the money's a lot thinner. You know, do they sponsor just one person on good money, or do they sponsor a few people, putting out more advertisement for them on less money? So it's it's definitely harder if you want to ride a bike. Like even the World Cups now. I mean, the televised World Cup. I mean, it's nuts. The privateers don't even get a show, and it's. I think something needs to change on that. I don't know if it's going to be better next year or worse next year. I'm not sure, but you know, it's a weird situation at the moment.
It is. And I mean, you know, obviously when anything's a bit newer, um, people are kind of in want to invest in it to get involved in this new sport.
Mm,
Now, we've moved on, 25 years or whatever. Um,
mm,
there's got to be more and more people ride mountain bikes than they did back then, like as a leisure sport, whether it's an e-bike, a trail bike, a downhill bike, whatever bike. Surely I think there must be more people on mountain bikes now. Would you think?
Oh, for sure, yeah. But no, every Billy and Johnny's got them, haven't they? Like
Yeah,
you go to like Bike Park Wales and stuff,
yeah,
and it's packed out. They're sold out.
yeah.
And it's weird because you ride there and you don't really see them unless you're on the uplift.
No,
Because so many trails, they're all riding. We're riding the gnarlier stuff, obviously, and they're riding the sort of the blue flow trail or whatever. But they're having fun and like they are putting money back into mountain biking. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the e-bike sales at the moment seem to be going a bit nuts, and that's what everyone seems to ride everywhere.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they are good. Makes it accessible to people that have not got time to keep super fit or whatever, and then
Mm.
obviously, um, wherever you live, whether you've got small hills or big hills, and an e-bike just makes it a little bit easier, and you get more of the fun riding in than the stuff that's not as fun, don't you?
Oh, for sure. Like yeah, I mean, in the week I'm probably out of mine a fair bit.
Yeah.
Just up the woods and stuff and hacking around. I mean, I don't. if I ride it anywhere, pretty much an eco. So you are sort of training a bit. I think if you ride in turbo everywhere, I don't know, I'm not into that. Like
Like,
if I was out with Deeks or a few other guys, maybe I might because we're dicking around somewhere. But
yeah,
yeah, normally if I go out for a ride, it's just eco. Like,
yeah,
but they're just good fun. They're just good training tools, and it just gets people that really wouldn't be out on them, which is cool, you know.
for sure. And then obviously, like anything, the progression moves on in any sport. Like what the young kids are doing now, whether it's the speed they're racing at or the size of the jumps they're doing, the tricks they're doing, everything
Mm,
um, is super impressive. But I guess it, when we were doing it, especially trying to race, I'd drive to, there was no hills where I live, but I'd drive to like North Wales on a Sunday.
mm,
We had a track there that we used to maybe pedal and push our bikes up. Maybe you'd get 6 runs in a day, and the
mm.
track's probably, I don't know, two and a bit minutes long. But the amount of time people can get now with all these bike parks, and obviously in Europe you've got chairlifts and stuff, but the amount of bike parks and accessibility to good trails nowadays, I think that must be a big part of the progression, as well as the quality of the bikes and stuff. What's your take on that?
Yeah, for sure. Like there's way more places to ride now than there used to be when we were back riding, you know.
Yeah,
Um, you had a couple of jumps up your local woods or something, or like the trail that was probably like 20 seconds long. It used to just blast up and down about 100 times on a Sunday, you know, or like after school. Or but it's definitely made it more accessible for people to be better at biking. Like, you know, if you're going to a bike park every weekend or whatever, or every other day in the week, even some people, like, there's no excuse for you to be better. Do you know what I mean? To get better. I know some people don't, and they just love biking and just carry on through, struggle on through.
yeah,
But there's a lot more talent coming through sort of over the last probably 10 years maybe that you see, which is really cool. I really like that side, just seeing people almost ride bikes a different way, you know,
yeah,
and stuff like that. I think that's cool. I really like that side of it. Um, it's always good to go somewhere and see some other guys riding that who you've never even seen before.
yeah,
And it's like, why isn't this guy sponsored?
yeah,
You know, there's a lot of people like that, and I just get it because it's just so hard. There's so many people out there that are good.
yeah,
You know, not all of them can be sponsored, and you know, it's I suppose with social media now, you've got a lot. It's a lot easier to get noticed. Like back in the day, we had nothing. You had the magazines,
yeah,
and they'd come out every month or whatever, and you were just trying to get pictures and stuff and show your mates and stuff. There wasn't any way of really getting it in the mags unless you knew the guys at the magazines, which we fortunately sort of did. So we were quite lucky, I suppose, over some other people. But yeah, it's media's made it a lot easier to get your riding out, but it's just getting it to the right people and stuff like that to progress any further.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean the I everywhere I go these days, you bump into some young kid that you don't really know who they are, and they blow me away with the how
Mm,
fast they are or how much skill they've got. And yeah, they've got no sponsorship, but there's tons of other kids at that level as well that
mm.
have been noticed, or they've won a race or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But so anyway, what going back to when you were racing World Cups, what was the first year and World Cup that you got to go to? Was that a big goal of yours to go and race World Cups, or was it just part of the team?
Um, I mean, I've always wanted to sort of race and stuff and ride abroad. That opened being on the animal thing, like obviously opened up a few sort of doors and stuff to do that. I think it was 97. It was 97 or 98, 97. I think I was third in elites.
Yeah.
Behind Pete, I think it's Pete and Chris Whitfield, first and second, I
Yes.
think.
Right.
Or was it Tim? I don't know, I can't remember. But yeah, I
Oh,
was third and
I think you're right. Petey might
Pete
be doing World Cups, and maybe Tim won it, and Chris was
second.
maybe
Because it
yeah,
was the last one at Ludlow, and I had to do, I was like seventh or fifth or something. And
yeah.
if I had a good run, a good ride, I could bump up to third.
Okay.
And I think Warner made a right. Oh no, Warner won it, I think, didn't he? Petey fell off coming out the woods, I think, didn't he?
Can't remember. I would have been in senior category that year, so not in your category because that was my
Right.
first year. But I can't quite remember what happened at that race.
Mm. But I come down, and I was leading it for quite a while, which is like I was like, wow, that's quite amazing. I've actually done all right for a change.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, you did
And
good. You did good. I
yeah,
mean,
that year was all right. Sorry.
yeah. I mean, to come third overall in the national series at that time, that's no mean feat, you know.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that. I think that's one of my sort of results that gets overlooked quite a lot. Even I forget about it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look back on it, and the people that are riding then, I know Petey and Rob were sort of away doing World Cups and stuff, but they were back for a few, and they obviously acquired quite a fair lot of points, obviously with the two that they did or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I think that was probably one of the better years, and that almost sort of turned my thinking sort of like towards the World Cups and saying, oh, maybe I could do all right at World Cups.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I think it was 90. That might have been 96 or 97, and then I think it was 97 that we started to do a couple. Um, I think one of the first ones we went out to was Nevergale.
Right.
Um, and rode there, and that was just a massive eye opener. Like the tracks were flipping mental. Like, you know, yeah, 2 minutes here or whatever, the longest track we had. Like, and you go over there, and like Nevergale's like 3.5, 4 minutes long, and we're like, oh fuck, it's bloody, it's nuts. You're getting halfway down, and you can't even hold on.
But
You
you're
know,
going so much faster as well, aren't you?
yeah, yeah. The tracks were insane, but they were so good to ride, like and ride different stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, Nevergale is probably one of my favorite tracks. It's an awesome track, it's so different. It's got the really wide open, steep stuff at the top. Then it comes into the rocks. It's just literally rock switchbacks for like a minute,
Oh
and then
yeah.
it goes into the woods, and you got all these roots and rocks, and it drops down to the fire road, and you flat out down a fire road like hay bale chicane or whatever, and then jump into like the banks or the hills and stuff to finish. It's like it just had everything in it. It was such a cool track.
Yeah, definitely. For the time I did the World Cups, it was definitely, I think, one of the better ones for sure. Like you
Mm.
say, had a bit of everything in, didn't it? Uh,
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
and so we've got to talk about so that was 98, yeah, 98. I raced at Nevergal, which
Mm.
you were. I went out with Rich Warner and Tom Edwards, Cade,
Yeah, yeah,
and what's his? Oh, flipping it! Why have I forgotten his name? He's gonna kill me.
yeah.
Lad who rode for Scott from Warrington. Um,
Oh, the glasses.
no,
The
that
guy
was
with glasses.
um. Oh, God, flip! Why have I forgot his name?
He didn't have a rat tail.
Chris Spencer.
Yes, Chris Spencer. Yes, yeah, yeah.
So us four went out in Rich's van because we kind of weren't. We all had our own little sponsors, but nothing like crazy. And
Mm.
were you still on Animal Orange in '98, or were you on Giant UK then with Rich Warner?
Um, I th- I think I was on Giant because I was on the ATX one.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that was a weird old race that was because it was wet as hell, wasn't it?
yeah,
And I think, yeah, like practice and stuff went all right. It was like okay, and then the rain came in real bad, didn't it? And like it started pissing. I was like, oh, never a fan of the rain, so probably the worst thing you ever put me in that. And I think, well, both me and you both went to the top and like had our runs, got to the bottom, we were just chatting, like, how do you do? Absolutely shite. Like real bad, like literally pushing a bike along one straight for like a minute or whatever, like ridiculous.
I had a
And
man at the top thinking I was going to win it because I'd qualified decent.
yeah, and like it's just crazy, like yeah. And we qualified because we were looking at the sheets. I think you were what 22nd or something.
I was actually, I actually didn't. Rich came back and told me I hadn't qualified. Uh,
Right.
Steve's in 24th or whatever. I was like, mint. I was a bit bummed I hadn't qualified, but then
Yeah.
Rich didn't check the first page, and
Yeah.
I was one of my best qualifiers. I think I was 17th.
Yeah.
Um,
That's and I was pumped because I don't ride in the wet,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like I pushed a whole straight pretty much. I was like, holy crap, I could be on for a podium here. It's like, good lord.
Yeah,
Anyway, I right, I'm gonna get my bike sorted. Went to Hope to get all the brakes sorted.
yeah.
So yeah, fucking brilliant. I picked it up, got on the lift, went up there, pumped, proper pumped. And I can remember Dave Watson was behind me. I was just about to go, and I pulled my brakes on, and the rear one went straight to the handlebar, and all the fluid pissed out.
Oh
So
no.
I'm thinking, no, this ain't good. And I can hear Dave Watson pissing himself in the background. And then next thing, I pulled the tear off, but some water must have got stuck behind the Smith goggles, and it snapped the flipping thing off. So, so I was like, well, what's the worst gonna happen? So I reckon if you looked at the first split, never go. I reckon I was probably the fastest to where I binned it on the motocross downhill section.
I've been,
I literally had no brakes.
yeah. And
Um,
I don't see, I don't see like last week in Leger, Amory Pirion pulling his brake and the oil flying out and his roll offs getting stuck. I don't know what's going on.
no, I think I might be slightly more professional than we were. Yeah, we just got on the thing and bloody rode it, didn't we? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty nuts, but it was, yeah, it's character building. That's the word, isn't it?
Character. And I don't know if you remember, I think it was probably because I was a bit, newer to riding my bike again and I'd not rode in a while. But I
Mm,
always remember like when we got to a World Cup, nowadays they go and walk the track 40 times or whatever and do a
mm.
Instagram story on it. Once we got to a venue, I just remember us jumping on our slalom bikes and just bombing it around town and finding jumps and shit to mess about with and waste all our energy before we actually got to racing.
Yeah, well, that's what we did, wasn't it? Like, you don't need to warm up in an English track; it's only a minute long.
Yeah,
Like, you go there, you need all your energy. Like, you don't think that you're racing somewhere that's 4 minutes long, 3.5 minutes long.
yeah,
So you're just doing what you do day in, day out, and it's not really the right thing to do. But
no, no,
you did learn eventually, obviously,
yeah,
but and took it a bit more serious, but
mm, slightly.
ish, ish, yeah.
And then anyway, so obviously I got obviously got racing with you throughout that 98 season. We had a good laugh and stuff. But then
Mm,
99, the first World Cup was, I think we had three World Cups in Europe. I think the first one was Leger, then it
mm,
went Maribor, maybe the first time Maribor happened, and then it was going back to Nevergal.
yeah.
Uh, were you were still on Giant UK that year? Was that right?
Um,
99?
I think was that in the fun bus when we did our trip?
Yeah.
That I think I was on Spooky then, wasn't I?
Do you
That
understand?
was not was that 99?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's 99. Yeah, that was definitely a trip to remember. That was, wasn't it? I
Well,
think.
before we talk about that trip, how
Mm,
did it about you riding for Spooky, like from Giant UK to Spooky? How did that come about?
um, the giant. I'm not really sure how the giant thing ended. I think it just sort of, I don't know, went a bit sort of stale. Maybe I don't know. Um, the spooky thing was done. There was a guy who had a shop in Lymington called Smell the Adrenaline, and he basically was bringing in Spooky, and he sort of he put together a little team. It was me, Chico, Andy Pope, I think at the time. So we were doing all the British nationals, and a few of us. I think me and Andy did a couple of the World Cups that year. I did quite a few of them, but Andy only came out to a couple. But yeah, the bike was mint. It was super good, but it was heavy. So anywhere over here where we raced it, I think at a dirty race, a muddy race, the bike weighed like 56 pounds or something stupid.
I can eat back.
Yeah, it was ridiculous heavy. But on the World Cup stuff, it was amazing. But I don't know, that year I just had so much bad luck when I was actually riding all right.
Yeah.
I think Big Bear, like I think I bent 2 sets of pedals in 2 runs on this rock gap thing, and it's like that was the end of it really. I think I qualified for him, but like didn't really do very well in the final. And then I think one of my best ones would have been Mont Saint Anne. I think I was doing all right on like the time sort of sectors and stuff, and then I got a puncher near the bottom, and it's like gutted, so it's just that year was a bit of a dud year, even though on sort of good equipment for the racing.
Yeah, and you were
like the Rissy stuff was good, it's good forks, they worked well, and all the guys we met out there were sound, and they were willing to do anything for you, to get your bike good. But it just bad luck, really, to be fair.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's talk about the fun bus, because I remember. I don't know how it all came about, but there was me, you, Chico, and Anthony Revel that were going out in this. What I was told was this amazing motocross race bus. I guess it was sold to me as, and I can't remember. We met up somewhere, didn't we? Steve Roach was meeting us with it. I can't remember driving somewhere down south somewhere to, I don't even know where I left me van or whatever, but we got this bus, and I feel like we had to, there was something wrong with it, and we had to drive to a garage before. But I remember sitting in the passenger seat. It had like a bench seat, didn't it? A massive big flat glass window, and I was thinking, why can I see the road? I think over your feet sat in the passenger seat, wasn't there? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it was not nice, was it? Really, to be fair. I mean, I think Rebs had a lot for that, because I think he wasn't riding at the sports division team at the time that Roach
Is that what it
was sorting out. So I think it was mainly Rebs' fault, I think, to be fair.
You were playing Rebs?
Yeah, massively. He was driving as well.
Yeah, because he had a HGV license or whatever, didn't he?
Yeah. And he was obviously used to driving in Europe for the BMX and stuff. So yeah, he got elected the driver, didn't he?
Yeah. And anyway, we got over to, I guess we used to go on the ferry then, did we? Did we go on the ferry, I think?
I think so, yeah. I honestly can't remember like how we got to Leger, but we did get there.
I don't know how we got there, but we did.
No, we got there, yeah.
And then I remember like, well, I guess on the drive out, Chico got like the 1999 version of COVID, didn't he? Do you remember how ill he was?
Yeah, he was pretty sick, wasn't he?
And he was just at like, there was a bed above the driver's seat, I think, and he was just dying up there.
Yeah.
I think Red Bull was pretty new, was it, back then? And we had like,
I suppose it was. Yeah, we were all seeing how many we could drink, I think, weren't we? Since we had a few crates in the van. Everyone had the shakes and the shits, I think. It was like, it was
we had
pretty
no
bad.
idea, did we? I remember literally just drinking Red Bull cans one after the other all the way there, and just like you said,
shaking, for hours.
and then I don't know what town we were in, but we started descending down some pretty steep road with a set of lights at the bottom, and I was kind of, we were I think that thing did about 50 mile an hour, didn't it? So I'd lost the will to live by the time we got to this point. I think you were sat in the middle, I was next to the window, and Revs was driving the big
Yeah.
steering wheel like this. And I just
Yeah.
remember like looking up and thinking, we're going pretty fast here down this hill. And
Mm.
so I looked over at you, and you were like, and I
Uh,
might have made this up, but I'm pretty sure you mouthed no.
yeah.
It's
And
slow mo.
it took about 6 minutes for no to come out of my face, I think. It was that bad. Like I could smell the brakes when we were coming down. I thought I don't smell very good. Like that stinks. Like I thought it was just some car in front or something. Like it's just stinking. Like, but yeah, we got all you could see was like it was almost like a tunnel vision of these buildings, wasn't it? And then some traffic lights and cars going across now and again. And I was in my head, I was thinking, we're gonna die. Anyway, somehow, like Revs is like pumping the brake thing. I got my feet, I think, like on the front window. Yeah, and you're just pissing yourself because you can't comprehend what's actually going to happen. And yeah, somehow we just go straight across this crossroads on a red light, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With and missed everything.
Unreal, mate. All I remember was Revs looking forward with his eyes open and his tongue out the side of it. You know, when you concentrate on a computer game and you're going,
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the closest near death moments I think I've ever had.
same. But we somehow survived it. And then I think, obviously, we had to pull over and have a Mackey's because to sort
Yeah,
ourselves. And didn't
yeah.
we went to the Mackey's? Didn't someone break in and rob your bag or something?
Um, I don't
Back.
know if that was there. Was that then? They might have nicked it. Yeah, I think the window was ajar, as it were, at the side, and someone, yeah, put their hand in and thieved my bag. But luckily, it only had all my clothes in. So, yeah,
What a
I think
trip!
that wasn't great. But then that wasn't the end of it, though, was it?
Oh,
Because
lots
then we
more.
got to Slovenia, didn't we?
Yeah, and
And that was all going real well. Like everyone liked the track and was having a good time.
me and you
And
were doing the two slalom specialists, Revs and Chico. They
yeah,
didn't they didn't qualify.
no,
We did because
yeah,
we were doing both.
yeah.
Um, when we'd made it through qualifying. It was qualifying like in the morning or the day before or something like that for Duel.
I think it was the day before, wasn't it?
So me and you qualified, and then obviously then we did downhill practice on the Saturday, and then
Mm,
we were racing in the evening, weren't we?
yeah, yeah,
So we all, you know, packed all our bikes in the back of the motocross pro race truck.
yeah.
And you went up for the finals. It didn't go very well for me, or you. I don't think. Didn't you have a massive crash and split your head open or something?
Yeah, when I slipped the pedal for the last big double and went over the bars, and I got to the bottom and didn't think anything of it. And Petey goes, "Oh, you've cut your head." And then as soon as he said that, all this blood ran down my forehead and into my eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had bleached blonde hair at the time, so I was obviously dyeing my hair and stuff as you do. Obviously not you, but but yeah, and that was pink. My head was pink. They bandaged my head up. My hair was pink, sticking up like, and they put me in this Renault. I think it's like a Renault van, but it had like clear sides, like an ambulance, and strapped this wheelchair that I was sat in that. So literally, I'm going out sitting in this middle of this ambulance, so everyone can see in the sides, and I'm just looking out with this pink hair, and they put the sirens on. It's like, fuck, you know, it's like, yeah, it's just another, well, stuff like that had to happen after that whole traffic light incident, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think I didn't go much better for me. I think I got a good start in the second round or whatever, and then
Mm.
just got absolutely taken out by Karima Moore in the first corner.
Yeah, that was when the old T-bone was essential, wasn't it? Really, I think in racing.
Apparently.
But yeah, I think I think just before the finals, I think Ed Mosley come and broke me out of hospital. I had my head I had my head stitched up, and I was just sitting there waiting for him to sort the paperwork out. And Ed, I think he ran in, got me, pushed us out, and we jumped in the van and drove off quickly. And then come back for the finals and watch the finals.
And then after the finals, obviously we were sleeping in the van, weren't we? So we had like bunk beds in there or something. Were they
Yeah.
brown bunk beds or something?
Yeah, it was horrible. I try not to remember that. Yeah.
And then
But
and then and so we can't even talk about some of the other funny stories that went on, that
no.
Revs and little mate and stuff. But and the mustache and that. But but I mean, they were cracking times, weren't they? It was a good crack, wasn't it?
Yeah, all I can say is thank God there wasn't any cameras or
Yeah.
like phones with cameras about nowadays. So not a good idea.
And then and then obviously later on that night we went back to our uh, accommodation stroke race van and realised that our bikes were gone. They'd
Yeah.
broken into the back door while we were doing the finals.
Mm.
You had a super trick, like painted up spooky hardtail, didn't you?
Yeah,
And
spooky metalhead. Yeah, well, I had the American flag one side and English flag the other, airbrushed on.
that was
It
sick.
was sick. Yeah, it was a sick bit of kit. But yeah, that was not there anymore, was it?
But the bikes that were closest to the door, which our
Mm.
bikes were behind them, which was
Yeah,
Rebs's Saracens, they
yeah,
were still in the van, weren't they?
they were. Yeah, they'd taken those out, nicked the better ones, obviously, and put the Saracens back, which I still find very, very amusing today. But yeah, it was another just a funny chapter in the whole trip, really, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
And then just as the trip progressed. So I remember that night in Maribor. I don't know if you came out because of your head, but
Mm,
you probably did.
mm,
We ended up in town as usual on the Slovenian beers and vodkas,
mm,
and I found myself on the top of a giant wheelie bin, uh,
mm.
doing about 30 miles an hour down the road while Petey and Warner were pushing me. Then it hit some concrete bollards. Obviously, I flew off it, landed and rolled my ankle off. And so I was so excited to go and race at Nevigal because we'd done well there the year before and I love the track.
Yeah,
I think I had about 15 bandages on my ankle trying to hold it together. And I managed one run and I was in that much pain I had to go home. So
yeah. I'm not sure whether I went out, like I say, because of my head and stuff, but I think I did venture out for a bit, but I must have gone back early because I can't quite remember you doing that. But I can remember you turning up and trying to ride with this fat ankle. But yeah,
uh,
oh, amazing.
funny stuff but yeah, it was good times and I'm stoked we got to do all that. It was brilliant. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
and so obviously we raced the World Cups for a few years. I
Mm,
never did all of them one year due to whether it was injury or budget going to Japan or whatever. But when
yeah.
when did you sort of call it a day on racing the World Cups?
I think it was about 2000. I think it was. It might have been even 99. I think I might have done a couple of. No, it's 99. I think. Stop doing them. Yeah, just I don't know. I was getting not over it. The last rounds that I did, I think I did were at Snoqualmie, um,
I never.
and that was a pretty all right little track. It wasn't too bad actually. There was a couple of sections that were where it rained overnight. It washed out a lot of the dirt underneath the roots, and it was literally like a bouncy castle full of roots down this chute,
I
and
think
it was
in the footage.
so sketchy. It was so sketchy. Like I think Sean's Mark broke his neck down it
Yeah.
or something. It was pretty sketchy.
Died first, didn't he?
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. So that was one of them, and I was like, "Fuck, it's getting a bit sketchy now." And even a couple of bits at the top, I think me and Tim rode it in practice, and like it's basically like there was three rock slab drop offs at the top. They're quite big, and then it went 90 degrees and off this like 10-foot sheer drop into a berm. And like we're loving it. Like me and Tim were like, let's get up again and do it again. But we did one lap and then come up for the second, and I think Lopes and Carter were there on the corner with one of the UCI guys and stuff, and they were like, "You have to take this out. This is dangerous," or something. And I'm like, "Nah, out the way!" Like
That's the
what?
best bit.
Loving it. Best
Yeah.
bit of the track. But I think eventually they got taken out when they went around it, around this rock and stuff to go. So I was like, well, it's a bit, yeah, I don't know why they did that, but a few people are having problems with it. But like, I don't know, I suppose because I used to ride sort of that stuff and do stupid drop offs and stuff, but they're just used to it.
That was your
Um,
skill set, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was good. But like, yeah, a couple of bits got taken out. But the worst one for me was Bromont that year. The end of the year, it pissed it down with rain all day, and like
I think
Bromont is literally a rock track.
yeah.
It's like, and we obviously you've ridden them, so you know what they're like. Tioga DH tires, the original ones. Now it's almost like putting like porcelain tires on your bike and then trying to brake down a rock, and it's like it's not going to happen.
No.
And like I think in practice, I nearly killed myself about 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
We went to Jeff and Dave back at the old Dave Wooten back at the old Tiger track. I was like, look, I'm going to die if I ride with these tires anymore. And he goes, well, we've got a couple of sets of the was it blue dragons or red dragons and stuff they had,
Yeah.
and they were a lot softer than the original ones. So I had a couple of them put on my bike, and they were actually pretty good. Still not great compared to the Michelins and stuff that people were winning on and stuff like.
Yeah.
And I think in qualifying, I snapped my seat off right at the top of the track. So, but I was pretty like I was over it then. Like I was pretty pleased I did, to be fair,
Yeah.
because it wasn't a fun track to ride in the wet and stuff.
No, I think I remember seeing a footage of Gary Houseman in the final. Like I think he qualified top 10, and then he just tried to send it in the rocks and had a
Mm.
match over the bars or something.
Yeah,
But
that rock section's I reckon still it's still one of the gnarliest rock sections I've seen even to date. Like out of all the World Cups.
yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's hard to say because like nowadays I'm that much more scared than I was back then, and I ride a lot
Mm.
slower. But I don't think the tracks have got more technically difficult, have they? They're like they're super fast and there's some big
Mm.
jumps and stuff, but some of the stuff that they used to send us down, technically, they were pretty
Mm.
full on, weren't they?
Oh, for sure. Like yeah, like you say, I don't think they've got. I wouldn't say they've got harder, but
No.
I think it's almost like the same stuff, but because of the bigger wheels and stuff,
Yeah,
you're going a lot faster
yeah,
because they carry a lot more speed. So the consequence of coming off and slipping out is a lot higher.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say they're way more technical,
no,
but like I mean, saying that Val de Sol was a pretty gnarly track,
yeah, that's
you know.
yeah, and
I mean that back in the day with 26s would probably finish everyone off, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah, probably would, but you just well, I remember. I don't remember. Do you remember? Did you race at Yeah, you must have done because we had the Big Bear race in
mm,
'99. No, was
yeah,
it '99? And then we
yeah,
went
99, yeah,
Tahoe. Do you,
Tahoe.
yeah. Do you remember
Uh,
like there was a rock shoot in Tahoe that it was pretty full on. I don't know if you remember it.
that's no, was that Score Valley?
Yes.
Score Valley, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it went down. Was it? It's pretty gnarly way down. Then it had like a jump about 3/4 of the way down it, didn't it? Like a roller, but you could jump it
Yeah.
over a rock gap into a corner or something.
Yeah, but I remember in the middle there was like a steep bit. I don't know if there was a chicken line or something, but you literally went over this sort of crest and then
Yeah.
down this like real jagged near vertical rock chute into a right-hander that had one of them big orange catch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. That was not far from the start, wasn't it? That was right at the top, pretty much.
Yeah,
Mm.
because yeah, because I remember that year I was running for that intense Kawasaki team, the UK team,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we had like all green Troy Lee kit and a Troy Lee helmet and stuff. And I
yeah,
think I remember coming into that bit in the final, and I think I can't remember if it was right there, but I think Troy and someone else was stood there and they like noticed me and gave me a shout or whatever. So I tried to do it super fast, and yeah, I just ended up upside down in that catch netting. Uh,
yeah.
trying to show off, not show off, but trying to, impress somebody that give me a free helmet.
Yeah. Need another one after that, though, didn't you?
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
but
But no, it was that was a good track. I really enjoyed that track. I think, and that's another one I was doing all right at, and I bent my pedal. There was one corner you could go high and cut in tight, and I went high, cut in tight, and smacked my pedal on the inside and bent the pedal. So it was like 45 degrees. So when I'm pedaling, my flipping foot's going like sort of real sort of weird angles, and I just couldn't pedal. So I just rolled down. Like didn't I don't think I qualified at that one, which I was a bit sort of gutted at.
yeah, because that was kind of,
Um,
you were good at that technical steep stuff, weren't you?
yeah, I quite like that. It was fun, It's sort of like we got shorter stuff that I used to ride that was short and steep, and that sort of reminded me a bit of that.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite good at the time stuff. But I think the duel as well, the duel there that time, and the track was really good. Like
Yeah.
it was a bit of a sprint out, then you had like a left-handed hip or something dropping into some moguls,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I think like me and Greg were like dicking around at the top and just jumping the moguls all different and stuff, and it was we I think we're the first two to do this sort of like double in the moguls,
Yeah.
and the track felt good. So like I think I can't even remember who I was up against, but the commentator basically sort of said this other guy was going to win basically before it even started, and I was like, right, I'm going to show that bastard. Anyway, sprint out the gate, out sprinting him out the gate. She did the double through the thing, and for some reason it went out the moguls, went right up round a bank and left. And as I went up the bank, somehow it just got all like jackknifed. I went over the bars.
Yeah.
Anyway, this other guy, he hit the back of me, went over the bars as well. But instead of like, I don't know if he did it on purpose or whatever, but sort of went over the bars, but somehow sort of ended up sort of landing on me. So I'm like pinned to the floor, but I still had hold of my bike. So I'm trying to pull my bike out, and he's sort of sitting on me while he gets hold of his bike. And we both get up at the same time. My bars are like 45 degrees, so I'm not stopping to try and get them straight. So the next straight, I'm sprinting as hard as I can with these bars, like a yacht tiller steering. And like, yeah, he beat me by like half a wheel, and I was gutted. Like that's another one because that would have been for the quarters. So
I mean, you're going well there. Yeah.
mm.
I, I don't know why I'm thinking this, but maybe I've seen a photo of it later on, but I swear that might have been Jeff Schofield or something.
um, I don't think it was because he
Rottweiler.
Rockwild.
No, not Rottweiler. Rotec.
Rotec, that was it. Possibly, I don't know. Possibly, it doesn't. I think, yeah, I think I'd know if I heard the name again, but I really can't remember who it was. But yeah, I was gutted that I didn't do well at that one because the Rissy boys and stuff and the Spooky boys have been super sick that week, and like, yeah, it was just that was such a funny trip. Like, there's some good stories on that one as well. Like, yeah, just hustling this guy in one of these bars in with all the Spooky lot, and yeah, it's just funny. It's just real funny.
Good stuff. And what did you prefer? Did you prefer the downhill at that point or the dual, or did you, like me, I just kind of like doing both of them?
Yeah, bit of everything really. Like on a good track, I like the dual. Like if there's some decent jumps or rhythms, then yeah, I did enjoy that quite a lot. But a lot of the time, the World Cup tracks were just really fun to ride. Like really good. There wasn't. I don't think there was one. well, apart from Bromont, I wouldn't want to ride again.
Yeah,
Like they were all good fun.
yeah, for sure. I agree. Do you think, obviously they're trying to make the World Cup downhill like super professional now that, you know, they've the big trucks and the big teams are coming in with a lot of
Mm.
budget, and the top riders get paid a lot, and the amount of like testing they do in the off season now is like gone up crazy, hasn't it, compared to when we were doing it?
Mm.
But do you think it's do you think it's lost a bit of the um I wouldn't say the fun factor, but do you think it's lost a bit of the interest for the mountain bike fans that, like, you know, I thought it was really good that most of the top guys rode the downhill, and then most of the top guys rode the dual as well, and then every bike company sort of produced a bike for us to do the dual on. Um, and I thought it was really good seeing the top downhillers like racing head to head and stuff like that. I feel like that's
Mm.
been lost a bit. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I still watch the downhill fairly regularly and stuff when I can, and yeah, like yeah, I don't know really what's happened with that. Like the testing thing, yeah, there's not thing is because I think because there's a lot of people that are good, like it makes it harder for the really good people to sort of stay there. Like they know their job's on the line every time they go out, almost pretty much. So they've got to be seen doing the right thing. And what with the whole media thing, as soon as you do anything out of place, it's on for everyone to see. So it's very difficult. And I think it got to a point at one stage, like for about 3 or 4 years, where almost like the personality sort of dropped out of it. It was all just too serious.
Yeah.
And now you've got, I think now for personality and stuff is brilliant. You got like Amory's a good laugh, Bruni's good laugh, like Finars and stuff like that. All of them seem to have a good sense of humor again now, and it's just they know when they can be funny and
Yeah.
do that and project that, and which is cool. Like it's almost brought a lot of personality back in, which is cool. But I think if it's too serious, I think it would get like it did for a stage, which it's hard to watch. Like I don't know why it got like that. Um, it's just it's weird how it did, but no, I'm glad like the whole personality things come back into it, and they are still having fun, and you can see that when they're riding.
Yeah.
And maybe some people would say different, but I think I think it's a lot better now than what it has been, sort of probably over the last 4 years, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the riding level and some of the the riders and the characters and the different sort of skill sets. You know, you've got like Bruni, who's super dialed, and his bike always looks insanely planted, and he's so
Mm,
strong and so consistent. And then you've got Amri, who's a bit wild and, you know,
yeah.
is exciting. And then
Mm,
not riding this year, but then you've got young Jackson Goldstone that's brought like a whole new element to downhill. He's basically just
mm.
hopping his way down, isn't he? As if he's at the pump track and
Yeah, yeah.
go as fast. Yeah, I think it's really, really good for that kind of
Mm,
thing. I think it's. I don't know. I listened to a few riders, and I think it'd be better if it went back to like when we did it. It seemed like you got a whole first chill day of practice where it didn't seem to be as rushed, and it was
yeah.
like you got to learn the track and you got to chill a little bit, and then then it got serious. Do you know what I mean? There was more of a
Mm,
easy first day to learn the track and enjoy it before it got serious. I kind of
mm.
remember.
Yeah, I think was it Thursday we used to turn up and like water track in the evening,
Yeah,
and then Friday used to be just practice day. So you had a whole day to practice. Um, and then Saturday was quali. It was like qualification. Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? And then Sunday was a race.
I think. Yeah, I think it might have changed. Like I do remember like some years it was quali in the morning and then you raced in the afternoon. But
Um, Sorry, say that again.
I think some of the years I did it. I think you didn't you have quali in the morning and then raced in the afternoon. But I think it changed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we used to get there on a Thursday, have full day of practice Friday, and then quali Saturday, race Sunday. But I think, yeah, it might have been some might have been like or quali and then run in the fight same day in the afternoon.
I think it sort of changed a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And so going back to when we were doing it, obviously I think there was some really good bikes at the time, wasn't there? And I think there was
Mm.
also some pretty ropey bikes at the time. Whereas I think now most manufacturers have got a pretty good bike, haven't they? And good tires and good everything else.
Yeah, yeah. You struggle to have a rubbish bike and parts now, really, I think. Yeah, for sure. Like back in the day, we had like obviously the ATX 990s initially, like when we were riding them and stuff, and like obviously they had different linkage plates to make up more travel on the bike to give you a bit more of a bit more suspension and stuff. But yeah, like they don't really do that now. Like it's made for the downhill stuff, it's made for the big stuff, and like they just I think the new bikes and stuff look pretty cool. That new Specialized looks pretty special under there. Looks pretty good, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a lockout system at all underneath that bit of thing, but but yeah, like the bike looks cool, and they all look cool now. Like there's not one bike that doesn't look that good. I don't think anymore.
Oh, they all look nice, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, they all look good.
If so if you if we were starting out now in the downhill again,
Mm.
you know, what would you what would you do different now if you were starting out now than what we did back then, or would you kind of do it the same way, do you think?
No, I'd probably be put more effort in, be a bit more enthusiastic. Um, yeah, just be a bit better at stuff. To be fair, um, yeah, just not
Maybe have a few less. Do you think we should have had a few less beers maybe in the week leading up to the race?
only a couple, Nige, only a couple. But yeah, I think yeah, just concentrate on riding, not ride and think about the drinking in the evening. That's what I normally did. But unless I was going all right, then I'd sort of like reel it in a bit and think, oh, I can do all right here. We'll concentrate a bit more for 5 minutes, and then it was drink again. But but yeah, like it's I don't know. It just seemed to go part and parcel. There wasn't really at the time all the English were out. We were doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like having a few beers, having
Apart from
standard
Rob,
English. Apart from Rob, who was having a few beers and then tipping them out into plump pots.
a lot smarter than he makes out, and he
Yeah, hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, if we're doing it again, obviously you'd be a lot more serious. Like the the whole drinking thing was just part of it then back then. I think like the whole party things because Brits abroad and all that. Like
yeah, it's like being
the
an old.
French, it was yeah. The French were completely serious most of the time, weren't they? Didn't see Nico out having a party, did you? Like and all that lot. Like apart from Gracia, obviously Gracia was out.
Yeah, he could win and party, couldn't he? But not many of
Yeah.
the others did they?
No, no. I mean, like, who used to have back then? Corrado Herrin and
Yeah,
that lot. He was pretty professional, really. Like all of that lot. Like, yeah, Tommy Misser and sort of all. I suppose back in the day, they were like because they were at the height of where they were. I think they had to be seen doing the right thing,
yeah.
because we were like 40s, 50s. It didn't really matter.
But, but I mean, you know, like joking aside, we got some all right results. Some of the results that we got, if you got that now, it's kind of like, yeah, I came. They like to call it now, don't they? I came
Yeah,
peak. I remember coming P26 in Maribor, and I thought I was the biggest waste of time ever because me two teammates had come first and ninth, and it was
yeah.
I was just getting a free bike. I thought I'm a disaster at this. Whereas now you come P26, it's not a bad day out, is it?
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think my best one was at Stellenbosch in South Africa. I think Greg was like 29th on his first outing on the Kona. He was like 18 or something.
Yeah.
And I was 32nd or something. I was like, I think that was one of the beginning ones of the year. So I was like proper amped, like, oh, I can actually do all right at this. Like 32nd isn't that bad, you know? So like, and then it just, yeah, went all downhill really from then on. But it was, it was still fun. Like you try your hardest, you know, you try your hardest to ride down stuff. But I think because of the length of the tracks, you just weren't used to like, and that got me a lot of times towards the end, just feeling real tired and even fatigued, where you're trying to ride every run fast. Where you see the fast boys, they just poodle out the line or poodle out the start, and they'll be sessioning bits they know they want to learn. And I never really did that, and I think that's what I'd change differently is, you know, have a few more runs, but chill on some other bits, and then just push on the stuff I wasn't too comfortable with and stuff like that. You know, try and learn them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Whereas I just bang through things and be like, oh, that was all right, and you know,
I mean, I think, yeah, I think well, for me, I always did better if I was, enjoying the track and actually just riding loads. If I got if I got caught up on like a section that and it got in my head and I was like a bit worried about it and I spent half a practice like thinking how I could do that better. I
yeah,
never could then, I think it got into my head a little bit because maybe I wasn't as confident as I should have been in like what I could do.
yeah,
Um, but but yeah, now everything's broken down. You've got like we used to just talk to each other, didn't we, and like watch a section. Whereas
mm,
now teams have multiple people up the hill saying, this line's better, and they'll video it and show them on the
yeah.
phone. So we didn't kind of have that, did we?
No, no. I must admit, the last a couple of the races I've done over the last few years, like with the phones and stuff, I've videoed sections and have watched them back just because I wasn't too, you
Yeah,
know, wasn't too sure where to go and stuff, and then videoed someone through it and stuff like that, and that does help a hell of a lot. So I can see how that would help, like the bigger teams if they've got someone doing that where you don't have to.
yeah,
Like, I mean, a lot of the sections, people are just gap now. You don't ride over a lot of stuff, do you? You know, so you gap like 30-foot sections of routes, which, you know, back in the day, you'd probably think, well, we'll just ride over it.
yeah.
And like they're not even thinking about that anymore, you know?
Yeah. Um, I d- just going back to the the product thing with the Tioga tires.
Mm.
Do you remember we went out to Nico Vulio's track at Pay and we did that Tioga testing week?
Yeah, Monaco, above the hills in Monaco, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
that was
we
fun
might have
times.
got a bit too drunk the night before the timing. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll leave that bit for now. But do you remember? So didn't we had the standard Tioga tires, which were like the little square blocks, but we had
Hmm.
like three different compounds, didn't we?
Yeah.
And one compound, obviously, that at the end of it, they said for our race run or like timed runs,
Mm.
or they said which tires did you want to use, and obviously I
Mm.
picked the softest rubber ones, which I'm sure you did. But
Yeah, yeah.
whatever happened to them? Because I don't remember getting them after that. Do you?
No, well, I can remember just trying a lot of the older tires, and then that was when I'm sure it's like the Blue Dragon or some other silly tires come out, and yeah, I can remember because we tried different wheel sizes as well,
You
like
tried
two,
horse, didn't you?
yeah, tried 24s, they were pretty horrendous. We tried 26, 24 rear,
I remember.
um, first sort of mullet, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um, that was better, but yeah, obviously the 26, 26 was the best, and obviously the times come out and was way quicker.
yeah,
But yeah, the tires were good. That track was pretty rocky and like it was loose, wasn't it?
yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool to ride that track, like where Nico ride, obviously, and it's good to ride stuff that he practices on. But yeah, the softer tires were definitely better. Like the harder tires they had initially, like I don't know how we rode them, to be honest.
Well, I remember obviously because Tim Pontino was, did well at the UK races and the
Mm.
World Cups, and I kind of had some good battles with Tim, and a lot of the time he had those Tioga tires on, and I couldn't understand how he could ride them because every time I put them on, and he
Mm.
hits the root section, I'd just fly off the track.
Yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. Tim's a weird one to explain. Like he just didn't pedal ever. I don't think I ever saw him pedal anywhere.
You know,
Like, but he'd be going the fastest out of everybody.
kind of
Yeah,
like Sam Hill, didn't he?
yeah,
Just not in a rush.
no. But he always did pretty well, didn't he? I don't think he really had a bad result unless he fell off or something.
No,
But
sure
he
he's up
seemed to hop about a lot, hop over stuff, and just pump and just stuff. Yeah, he had he obviously had a good style as well, just like jumping everything he could, and yeah, it was good. Tim was he's a good lad, Tim.
he was always fit. Like I think he
Mm.
quite concentrated on his training and stuff. But yeah, he was a brilliant dude and great rider. Um,
Yeah,
and so um, well, first off, now there's so many different types of riding and with social media and stuff. Like it always makes me think, especially about you and your skill sets. If
mm.
other than the racing, from where you came from, do you think in this day and age, if you were back in your 20s, do you think you'd be doing World Cups, or do you think you'd be going to all these like Fest Series um, events and stuff? What do you think a young Steve Geall would be doing?
Yeah, definitely the jump stuff for sure. Like the fast stuff's nuts. Like it looks so good. Like it definitely. I mean, I can still hit some big stuff now. Like
I've seen,
and but I
yeah,
do think twice about a lot of it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I can still ride that stuff, but yeah, some of the bigger stuff like is pretty gnarly, like and it's just just the way the bike reacts, Um, it's just yeah, it's rad to see, and like obviously I stood in that like just insane, like flip over that 110 or whatever is pretty gnarly, and just the stuff they're doing now is just insane. You wouldn't have thought some of the stuff they're doing now is, I think one of the new guys in the scene is it Egg Gabriel, the French guy? Is he French? Unreal. The last sort of little reel we put out at that backyard battle,
right.
like over the spine. He's going like 20 foot over the spine and stuff. It's so sick. Like I got a lot of time for that stuff. Like, and that's sort of where my sort of roots and heart really lies and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just love watching any stuff like that. Like obviously Cade and Chaos and just all of that. Like that's sort of me back in the day, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd probably be the first to admit that I did used to try and find jumps everywhere down the track, and probably wasted about 30 seconds on downhill tracks by jumping stuff. But you know, you
Yeah.
can't take jumping out of the boy, as it were, can you? So
No. No, unlike Rich Warner, who I remember him saying to me once, "Hijack, jumping, disgust."
yeah, I think them plates of meat he had on the end of his leg, I think it sort of forced into the floor. I don't think they allowed him to take off.
No, I'm sure you remember this one when we went. It was Maribor. It must have been '99 when the bikes got robbed, and I
Mm,
borrowed Lewis King's spare bike, and I don't know if you remember on the downhill track, it started right up at the top, and there was a big
mm.
step down out of a right corner.
Yeah, yeah,
And I remember Rich qualified a bit lower down than I did. So I was on the chairlift as we were going past that step down. And I saw
mm.
Rich come into the corners with his feet like this. And I was like, go on, Rich. And then I just heard the biggest boo out of the crowd. And I thought, as he slammed it. He must have been the only male rider in the finals to not do that step down. I think I
It's
was
fun
laughing when I left the start.
because of it, yeah. Yeah,
But
like if I think well, yeah, me, Tim, I don't know, I think you probably were as well, but like, we were probably one of the first lot to jump anything on the tracks if
yeah,
we went anywhere for sure. Like
yeah,
a lot of the Americans would sort of get to stuff and just sort of peer over the edge and see what was there and then go back and do it.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I think we just had that mentality of just hit stuff first time. What's the worst that can happen?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just do it.
I know.
But I think that's the whole BMX side in us. I think really.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it was funny stuff. But um,
Mm.
so what? After you stopped doing the World Cups, where did you go in the sport then? What was what was next for you?
Um, well, me and my dad did some frames, made some jump bike frames because I was obviously still obviously really into the jumping stuff, which I sort of still am now, really. But like, yeah, we made a couple of hardtail frames, like the G bike stuff. And we sponsored Grant and Ollie Fielder, a couple of chopper. And they rode for us for a year or so. We did that for a bit and sold a few of them, not a load of them, but like it was just something I sort of always wanted to do after the BMX, like the Zimmer frames we did like back in the day. So like, yeah, it was just a natural progression thing, and I rode them for a little bit and sort of got out of it. I'd say a little bit. Still had a bike and still rode, but got back into BMX again a bit, and rode for Demolition through like Elephant Distribution, like Steve Bancroft and Russ Lowe. Sort of, they brought it in. And like we did a couple of competitions and trips and stuff, and a few guys, American guys, come over, Rob Wise and Chris Fox and a few other guys and stuff, and we did a couple of tours with them.
He's
Um,
really,
he's pretty nuts. But yeah, it was good times. And then I've just constantly had problems with my back again, so that always held me back on the BMX. So I didn't ride it as much as I sort of wanted, but I could get away with riding the mountain bike again. And then I think, yeah, there was a gap of really not. I didn't really do too much. Like I was working in a bike shop, and I got a bike through them and just like rode that really. Um, did a bit of jumping, bought a few downhill bikes here and there, and sort of had a fiddle with that, and then got rid of it again. And then I got a Monderaker, probably a Summon in, when would that have been? I'd say 2010,
yeah,
maybe a little bit later.
yeah,
Um, and I did a couple of the races at Oakford Bike Park, which is just a little sort of near Blandford, little bike park near us. And the class I was in at the time was like the Masters or Vets or something. I don't know what it was, but like I won my group by like 10 seconds, and I was like, well, I'm going to get into this again. And I rode a couple of years on them and did a few races there. I did a few at Gorton,
uh,
down sort of Tabby, and yeah, got quite into it a bit again, and then just I don't know, just sort of somehow got out of it and did a bit of jumping again, just rode my jump bike a bit. And then I think 17, I rode like an ambassador roles, the transition bikes. Rode them for 2 years, which are it sort of got me back into it. I was with like Chris the first year, Chris Smith.
yeah,
Um, Obviously I lived with him in Froome for a few years, so we always used to hang out. So I knew Chris pretty well, and we always used to have a right laugh, and it was good times then. The bikes were good as well. The transition bikes were good. Um, and then after that, I was going to ride for sick bikes at the time, which was a bit left field really for me, but it was a bit different. And I suppose I never followed anything off the norm really. I always quite like the sort of strangey, sort of weirdy stuff.
yeah,
And it came to about May that year, and I still had no bike or nothing. And I got in touch with CSG and just about a Cannondale, and Clive let me have a Cannondale, Jekyll. And I rode, yeah, the ambassador role again for them in I think 19, which I quite like the bike. The bike actually rode pretty well. It was when everyone else was riding the Habits. The Habits were like quite a big thing at the time, the Cannondale Habits. but I wasn't a great fan of those because they're only like 140, 150 travel. But the Jekyll was like 165 or something, and it rode amazing. Really, really good little bike. A little bit light for me. I do prefer the heavier bikes. But yeah, rode them for a bit. Then I rode. I think I had another Giant. I rode a Rain for a bit. Um, uh, and that e-bike as well at the same time. So like the Giant e-bikes. And then that sort of finished, and I moved from where I was working. And I knew a guy from years ago called Neil Pengelly, and like I think I dissed him for doing 47 million tail whips out of Rob Ridge's bowl. If he does remind me quite often about that, and I was quite one of his heroes. He used to have pictures of me on his wall and all this lot.
Yeah.
And he had designed this bike and stuff, and I'd seen it a little bit, and he sort of asked if I'd want to ride one. I'm like, well, yes, because I've seen the bike and the bike looked cool. It's quite different. The Tora Cycles, like the EVH, and pretty much first race outing on it. He came down here, we built it up, and I raced it, and I won my group by like 5 seconds.
Brilliant.
Which there was a couple of guys that were all right speed in there, and it was single speed downhill bike, 200.
I saw that
So you
one.
got, yeah, and it's a sick bike. They work so well, and that's what I've been on the last couple of years. Like, and you obviously met Neil at the weekend and stuff. He's a bit of a character.
Bike looks great.
Yeah, and the bike rides in so many different ways, and like there's different, setups you can have the bike, and they're pretty much custom built.
Yeah.
And I think I rode a race at Rowgate, and I got second at it, and I was sort of pretty disappointed. But I think, a single speed 200 mil travel downhill bike's not the best pedaling across a flat track at the top. So as soon as I'd left the gates, I phoned Neil up and said, look, we've got to design a 160 bike. Like, we need an enduro type bike.
Yeah.
So he was straight on his computer and did a bit of, fit of fettling and stuff. And then 3 weeks later, he came up with this 160 model, which, we lucked in again because it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one I'm riding at the moment, that you saw at the weekend. And it just, yeah, it's not, it is like a team, but it's so relaxed. It's just nuts. Like, he doesn't expect much out of me, but I like to do stuff for Neil because like he gives me stuff, so I feel I have to sort of do that for him. And it's people know I am, so if I turn up somewhere, they see the bike as well, and they're pretty intrigued with it. And you get a lot of questions. Like we were out in Morzine a couple of weeks ago, and on the lift, and you get there's all the downhill guys there because it's the week before the race, and like there's finals and that is asking like, wow, what's that? And like, yeah, just it's so cool to get questions off the guys, that you sort of almost look up to, like riding now.
I love that stuff. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and they love it, and they, why the two chains, and why why is this, and yeah, it's cool that it's getting the coverage it is because it's quite quirky, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it actually works,
Yeah, and you've got Finn Isles asking you about the bike, and you've got to remember we've done this stuff for so long. Some stuff them young lads they've been given these bikes off Specialized or whatever from a young age from being super fast, and they don't actually know that much about certain things, do they? So it's pretty cool that they're asking you about your biking project, and I'm stoked you've got something that you're excited about and enjoying riding. It's brilliant because at this stage of the game, it's for us. It's you've got to keep it fun, haven't you, and enjoyable.
Oh, for sure. Like Neil definitely does that, as you knew at the weekend. So yeah, he's definitely a character, and it's just cool that there's people still like that in the sport who are willing to give up their time for some crackpot idea you've got, and he loves it. He loves it. He loves doing that. So yeah, and I'm stoked. Like, I could pop off down to see him and give him some ideas and stuff like that. And yeah, he loves it. He's just really into it, and he he just, yeah, he's just the same guy. He's just a real nice guy.
Same sound and dead into what he's doing, which is it's
Yeah,
great. Glad
yeah,
he's
yeah,
doing that with you because you're really good ambassador for the brand and stuff. That's awesome.
yeah. No, yeah, I love it. It's cool.
Cool, man.
It's my sort of thing. I fit in pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of like the spooky program that you were on,
Mm,
back in the day. And I nearly rode on the same program as you in
mm.
2000, and then I remember the Smelly Adrenaline guy ended up talking to me, and they got to import Intense for a little bit. So I remember starting out that winter on a spooky, and then ended up swapping back to an Intense because they were. I think he was doing both brands or something like that.
Yeah. I don't really know what happened with it.
Yeah,
Kev he was a bit of a funny one, to be fair. Like he was he was a bit controlling over what we did and stuff, and it was just, yeah, I couldn't do a second year. There was second year there, I think, but I just couldn't do it,
right.
just for reasons or whatever.
Yeah,
But it is what it is, don't you? You know.
yeah. What? So what's next for you? Do you think in the sport? What are you in the sport riding? Have you got any ambitions or plans to do anything or anything special?
Um, Not really. Like, just keep riding. I still love riding, even if it's just up the hill, up the local, up the road, or like a trip with my mates to some trails, or like Morzine the other week. Like, just with a group of mates that have fun time on bikes, and that's what keeps it. You got to keep it fun. Like,
Sure.
I've always said if I don't enjoy it, I won't do it.
Yeah.
But if someone come up and said, here's YZ 250 and a YZ 125, do you want to do a year doing this? I'll pay for everything. I'd literally drop everything. So I'd love to do that, although I'll be very rusty the first few months. But yeah, the motocross thing is just always there, like constantly. I think I was speaking to a couple of guys at the weekend, and like I just said, like, when you're a kid and you go into a mountain bike shop and you get all that, like, oh, I get all excited and you spout utter shit at the guy for like
Yeah.
an hour,
Yeah.
just about a set of grips. But
Yeah.
like, I we got Crescents down the road, and I got a couple of guys like Matt and Jack and stuff that I know in there, and yeah, I go in there and they're almost, they don't quite run off, but like, oh no, here he comes, he's gonna spout shit for an hour because he loves coming in here.
That's brilliant though.
Just yeah, I love it. I mean, I think if Lauren had let me, I'd definitely have another another motocross bike in a heartbeat.
And
But
when's the last time you rode and raced motocross?
I had I've only done a couple of races, to be fair. I'm a bit of a practice guy, but I didn't think I was good enough to race, if you know what I mean. Like, the couple of races I did, I mean, I did all right, like mid pack type thing. But that was, I think I dislocated my shoulder in 17 on a mountain bike,
Right.
and I had I bought a brand new YZ 250
Right.
in 17,
Four
and
stroke.
two stroke.
Two stroke.
Don't, no swearing, Nige. No, none of that four stroke shit.
Oh, sorry.
Two stroke only. Yeah, two stroke.
Wouldn't have had a. But
Ugh,
yeah.
yeah, makes me a bit ill that thinking of that. Yeah, two stroke 250, which was possibly the best bike I've ever had, even though it's like a bike that hasn't changed since '05 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome bike. Yeah, loved it. But it was just sat in the garage. It was money, and at the time needed money sort of, I don't know, for a house and just adulting and all that as you do. Um, and yeah, so I had to get rid of it. But yeah, I'm hoping like another one's going to come along soonish. Yeah, so watch your space.
Maybe if we do a little shout out on here, maybe because he's probably listening to this, maybe
Hmm.
Cairo might send you one of them new Ducatis
The
if they
Ducati things.
do a two-stroke.
Uh, it's pretty unlikely, to be fair, if they do two strike.
Never know.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, you never know. Yeah, I was always open to offers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like fourth at this sandpit race somewhere in Bear
Oh,
Regis or something years ago.
job
There
done.
was some there were some good guys there.
Yeah.
they think I was just in a different group to them.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Mm.
Well,
But yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
but moto is mad, a bit mad for it really, I suppose.
Brilliant.
But yeah, love it. Jerry McGrath's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched Showtime, that VHS Showtime. I can't remember how many times I watched that, and then
Yeah.
I think it was probably would have been around 99. And I
Mm.
was staying at Randy Lawrence's house, and he said,
Yep.
"I'm just going to nip round to Jeremy's. Do you want to come with me?" And I was like, "Jeremy's?
Huh?
Uh, uh, yeah." Anyway, we went round to his house, and next minute he comes out in his garage. He's like, "How you doing? I'm Jeremy," and I was like, "Yep."
Cool. Yeah, because you were when we went with Petey and that round to Randy Lawrence's house.
Yeah.
So we went to that barbecue around there, and he had that yellow caddy in the front garden.
Yeah, with the hydraulics.
Yeah, and he opened the door, and there was two of Jeremy's practice bikes in the garage.
Yeah.
And me and Tim were like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was nuts. I think Jimmy Button lived across the road, didn't he, and stuff.
Yeah, and I remember because Randy's brother Phil Lawrence was like mates with Emig, and
Yeah, yeah,
two always used to roll up in the suits it was like 4,000 degrees there, wasn't it? And
yeah,
they were playing golf in the suits, and I was melting at RL's house, flipping brilliant.
yeah. It's insane. It was amazing. Like, because you see him on the videos, and then you sort of, I should have done that from the start, shouldn't I?
It's all right.
I've got a bad rep with lights. If you've not seen my DMR thing, so I better not touch it. Um, but yeah, like it's amazing. Like, because you see them on the videos and stuff, and then you're sort of somewhere and they're actually there, and it's like you're a little school kid, like wow, that over there, and it's like it's crazy, like it's amazing. It's good. It's nice to have seen them sort of back then as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think in is it '99? I think went to Vegas and watched the MGM, and yeah, McGrath and all that lot were there, Seth and
Yeah.
Twitch and all. They're all in the pool and stuff out the back, and you'd be floating past them like, all right, how's it going? Because I was sponsored by Nima at the time, like had the Nima shorts. And
Yeah.
was going around the flow pool there, and they were like, "No way, guys, Nima shorts." And I looked over, and it's like Twitch, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, it's nuts. Like, yeah, it's unbelievable. But it's cool to be about that sort of, around that sort of time as well, being quite into the moto stuff as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was an incredible time. Like, I know we done our yeah, you've obviously done amazing in BMX and in mountain
Mm,
biking. But it was cool like to get to go and do that at the even the level that we did, and then to
mm,
sort of mix a little bit with them, I guess our heroes and stuff that we'd watch, and that same with me, like staying at Petey's house, and like Neil and Dale Holmes had lived
mm,
next, flipping Corey Anastasio and all them boys are coming round to
yeah,
the house. It's like, holy shit, what am I doing here? It was,
yeah, yeah,
Cully and Eric Carter and all them guys. It was a good time, wasn't it?
yeah, for sure. And they're all real nice guys. Like,
Yeah,
you never. I don't think there was really. Well, there might have been a couple, but there wasn't many that you'd think, "Oh, what a dickhead."
yeah,
Like, they're actually all real sound.
yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah.
definitely a good time, mate, and it was great, going to races and spending some time with you. We had a good laugh.
Mm,
It was fun. Well, I'd love to. Obviously, we've not actually, we saw you at the weekend, but it
mm,
was it's only a little track there. But I'd love to
yeah.
meet and do some riding with you at some point, whether it's down your way or if you guys ever come up here, that'd be amazing to get out and do some riding with you.
Yeah, I'll come and show you how to ride your trails, Nigel.
No worries, and I can watch you on your jumps.
Yeah, yeah, do it. Sure. That sounds good. Yeah, we should do. It's been a long time.
And it's going to be before we know it, we're going to be too old, so we need to get it done.
Nah, it's only a number, mate.
You keep telling me that. Brilliant, Steve. Well, yeah, it was awesome to see you at the weekend. I do miss hanging out with you, and
Mm.
thanks very much for coming on here. It's been mega chatting to you and bringing back some fun memories.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking me to do it. It's been amazing. Like like buses. I've had 2 podcasts in a row, so it's been good to chat with you as well. It's like always good time to see you. So
Well, you're a popular dude. It just shows how, what impact you made on all the stuff you've done, and you should be super proud of yourself, mate.
yeah, cheers. I'm just pretty down to earth, you know me. So
But
it's
a
all good.
lot of people know you're cool.
Really? Who they? Tell me 'em. Tell me. It must be a few, I suppose. No. I sort of know. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah,
Pretty good at bikes, mate. Pretty good at bikes,
yeah.
and a good dude.
Cheers, Hodge.
All right. Well, yeah. Please stay in touch, and let's try and organise something where we meet up and go riding. Be great.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That'd be good. Sounds good.
Right. Cool. Well, thanks again. And yeah, is there anywhere you want people to see what you're up to and what you're doing with the bikes and stuff? Where's the best place to see all that?
Uh, just Instagram, really. Like, to be fair, Gilly at 250.com or whatever it is. But yeah, he's just have a look on there, and even the Tora Bikes um IG as well. Just go check that out. Yeah, check out all the weird and wonderful stuff Neil's doing. So I put stuff up now and again, probably not as much as I should, but yeah, there's stuff up there. So
Cool. All right. Well, brilliant. Thanks, Steve, and appreciate your time. And yeah, I'll chat with you soon.
yeah, no worries. No, just good to speak to you.
And you, bud. Have a good
Take
night.
it easy, dude. See you later, and you.
Bye bye.
Cheers, bye. See ya.
Right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I think you'll be able to tell by that interview. I love Steve. He's brilliant, and we had a great crack back in the day. He's a hell of a bike rider, and it's great to catch up with him. Please like and subscribe. Helps us out massively with the podcast, and comment, and yeah, put some other requests on there, and I'll try and get people on that you want to hear stories from. So anyway, thank you very much. See you next week. Cheers.